I'm a hero, so I can teach them better.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Ego is definitely in the way. And that's where ego is not my amigo in that scenario.
Yeah, I see your potential.
Yeah, well, man, I did or I wouldn't have hired the person. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Overlap Podcast. And the Overlap Podcast, we discuss and study the overlaps between work, fitness, family, faith, parenting, and leadership, with the idea that becoming better in one aspect of your life helps you become better in all aspects of life. And we're really trying to do that by taking larger business or big business ideas, we say big business brilliance, for small business leaders. And that's what we're passionate about. We're passionate about helping entrepreneurs make a difference in their lives, in their companies, and in their communities, in their families.
Episode 149.
Man, that's crazy.
Next episode is 100. We did 150 things
in a row, consistently,
over the last 3 years.
I know, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Oh well, I'm still having a good time.
I'm having a good time.
Thank you, listeners, for continuing to listen. Surprisingly, I hear more and more people say they've heard the podcast.
I know. Yesterday, we were at an event.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. And to hear people walk up and say, hey, I know your voice. I've never seen your face. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. And people saying, hey, I liked the podcast on this topic. And some people listen every week.
I know, which is surprising.
A little scary, you know. But thank you guys very much. We really appreciate it. And I don't know if we started out doing this for ourselves at first, maybe, but the concept was if we like these topics and breaking those things down, big business brilliance. We can sort of pare it back down to, small business and at least have conversations around small business that will help people grow in their leadership and maybe have a greater impact in their companies, their organizations, their families, and their communities. Because we do think that business is a microcosm of life and you're going to run into situations that are pretty similar to other aspects of your life, and getting better there is spreads to every other aspect. So.
Yeah, talking about the topic we have today, it's a microcosm of life.
Goodness, isn't it? There's tons of overlap here.
And as entrepreneurs, we struggle to do this thing, or I do a lot.
Yeah. So what we're really talking about today is it's called the Sunk Cost Fallacy, and it's just it's a psychological not phenomenon but situation that people find themselves in all the time.
I.e., sometimes it's just better to stop.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it's just better to stop. And culturally, and really for driven entrepreneurs, it's such a hard thing to do.
Well, and I don't think it's talked about very much either. I think all we hear is
hustle grind.
Hustle grind. Get up and hustle.
Yeah.
Hustle grind. Hustle grind.
And to a certain point, like, I don't want to knock out and I don't want to bring down hustle grind. I do think that that's a good. I think that there's good in that message, because I do think that message needs to get out to as many people as possible, that if you want to do something, if you want to be something, if you want to have something of real value and something that you really can be proud of, there is going to be a tremendous amount of hard work. And hustle is part of that. Grind is part of that, right? But you need to have some discernment in the process of that, and making sure that where you're running very emphatically and very intentionally is towards the right direction.
Yeah, I think that the ideology of if you keep doing the same things you're always doing,
yeah,
well, you know that.
If you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting.
Yeah, but then we don't say sometimes it's okay to not do anything.
Yeah. But man, I think you and I say that a lot.
Right.
A decision to not do anything is still a decision. Now, I like to put time limits on that. Okay, we're not going to do anything. COVID, right? We're not going to do anything for 2 weeks. Let's just see what 2 weeks does for us. Let's see what information we have in 2 weeks. And in 2 weeks, we had a little bit more information. We made a little bit more of a decision. And then we gave it another 2 weeks. And now we're 4 weeks in, So it's important to be okay, not constantly hustling and grinding is what you're saying.
Yeah. Stephanie and I tried to do this in our marriage too when we had a disagreement, but it doesn't always work because both of us have a hard time just shutting up.
Yeah.
We tried to say, okay, when we have a disagreement, we're not going to talk about it. We're going to give it 2 hours.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. How'd that work?
Not very good.
Yeah. People are people.
Yeah. But
doesn't mean it's not a good idea or the right idea.
Right.
Probably a really good idea. Execution is difficult.
And I have so many examples of when you brought up this actual
let me
term.
Yeah, let me read this out, though.
Yeah, do that.
The sunk cost fallacy is the tendency to continue investing time, money, or resources into a decision or project simply because you've already invested in it, even when it's no longer beneficial or rational to do so. This happens because people feel committed to their past investments, even though those costs are sunk and cannot be recovered, leading to poor decision making. I mean, there it is.
Oh, yeah.
Who has not been in that situation?
Oh, because I want to prove a point.
That
I'm right.
I've already invested $100,000 into this. What's another 50? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a real life example that snowballed into one of the greatest losses I've ever had.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Definitely so. And
it hurt. And it's a sunk cost fallacy that I've already invested this much. Maybe just a little bit more will get me to where I wanted it to be. And that was completely irrational.
Bad decisions have brought me to this moment. I'm going to continue to make the same decisions.
Yeah. What in this scenario has changed? Nothing. All I'm doing is putting more money after the bad money has already been invested. It's terrible.
And it snowballs.
It snowballs.
And so then after you've spent $150,000,
oh my God,
and continue to make it.
Yeah, what's another 50?
You got to do another 50.
Yeah.
Going in the same direction.
In the same idea, and absolutely nothing has changed. Yeah. That's my experience. It was a bad one, but
I had to hire somebody to get me out of this thinking.
Okay. Tell me more about that.
I really did. Our friend Rick Miller helped me with this.
Okay.
And hiring him as a business consultant. And you know how he does. He writes things down. He sits with a yellow notepad.
Mm-hmm.
It's very antiquated, but it works.
It works.
And he was like, what are we doing?
Mm.
What is the habits that you have used to get you here?
Mm.
What are the habits that you need to change? And visually seeing that come to life on paper really helped me say, I probably need to quit doing those projects. I probably need to cut that product that is the only product that I'm pushing where I have a loss.
Yeah.
But I'm so vested in it.
It seems like such a good idea.
It's such a good idea. But what does the last 5 years say?
Yeah.
It's not a good idea over and over and over again.
Yeah. The market didn't care about your good idea?
No.
Okay. Fair enough.
But how many relationships have we had in our life that I'm going to give that person one more shot?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Team members too. I am notorious. My team knows that I hold on to people way too long, which if I'm going to be wired one way or the other, hold on to people too long or get rid of them too early, I'd rather be the too long guy and show grace in that regard.
Yeah, I would rather be known for grace.
Yeah. But oh my gosh, that bites me a lot. And to the point where it really does start to erode a little bit of my leadership capital. How about that for a fancy term? But either way, if I'm just letting these people be on the team that shouldn't be on the team, but I'm trying to work with them and give them another shot for the 11th time, it really starts to undermine the culture.
I think it sets a culture of mediocrity.
Yeah.
And then it sets an expectation from other team members looking at your so-called grace that sets an obligation for you as the leader to continue that craziness.
Yeah. So grace overextended turns into sanctioned incompetency.
Right.
And everyone on the team says, well, if this person's allowed to stay on the team and they're performing at this level, I guess it's okay for me to perform at that level too. So it brings everything down. Excellence starts to become not the goal.
Right.
It's terrible. And it really is another version of sunk cost fallacy because I've already hired that person. We've already onboarded them. We've already gotten them into their role. We've trained them to know what the position is supposed to be. They know the scorecard. They know the processes. They've got the parking pass. They've got everything, right? So if I just will it and push them a little bit more, they'll be great. And it just is not a good fit for this person for whatever the reason is. It doesn't make them a bad person. It just makes them a bad fit. And it's my fault that I'm allowing it to happen because I'm just doubling down on the investment in that bad investment in the person that's not the right fit.
And I'm a hero, so I can teach them better.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Ego is definitely in the way. And that's where ego is not my amigo in that scenario.
Yeah, I see your potential.
Yeah, well, man, I did or I wouldn't have hired the person, I did or I wouldn't have, invested time and effort in the one-on-ones. And but at a certain point, it becomes way more about me making the thing work than really having a sober look at it that this is just a bad fit for that person. Sunk cost fallacy. There it is. There's lots of scenarios.
I broke these rules in every area of my life.
Okay, what are some others?
Parenting.
Oh, okay. Tell me about that.
Doing the same thing when my kids make certain mistakes, trying to parent the very same way.
Oh, good point. I never thought of it that way.
Not removing the thing that may be causing the action.
Like what? The phone?
The phone, the car.
The car, okay.
Because I want to make my life easier.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Sometimes we don't stop things because it would hurt us.
It would cramp our style a little bit if I got to take them to school and pick them up again. God, it's so freeing when they're able to drive.
And then we look at the little suckers and say, why are you continuing to have lacking character in this issue?
Yeah. We talked about it.
We talked about it, but maybe there was no consequences
there was
to
just
the
no
action.
Consequences, so it went in one ear and out the other.
Right.
We're going to double down on this way of course correction that's really yielded no results because it's the easier, softer way. Yeah, I'm with that.
Sometimes you got to set limits.
Yeah.
I want to tell you about one of our newest sponsors, Red Branch Outdoor Living. They create environments to bring people together by providing a turnkey solution for outdoor living with remarkable customer experience. They specialize in outdoor kitchens, pavilions, patios, pools, spas, and fire features. And they do it with integrity, innovation, and being remarkable. They did my outdoor space, and it turned out amazing. Check them out at redbranchconstruction.com.
I want to give a shout out to a friend and sponsor of ours, Chris Drogmiller from CMD Fencing. Let me tell you, I've had the pleasure of working with Chris personally over the last 3 or 4 years, and I've never encountered a fence contractor who excels in communication, craftsmanship, and timeliness like he does. Chris always delivers. I mean it. Fair prices, top-notch work, always on budget, and the best part for me, always on time. So if you're in need of a fence company to help you with a fence or any other outdoor wooden structure, give Chris a call. You won't be disappointed. Get in touch with Chris and let him and his team take care of all your fencing needs. CMD Fencing. So that is the concept we're talking about, which is sunk cost fallacy. I'm sure now that we've just uncovered that just a little bit, everyone has an idea of where they have stepped into this trap. You might be in the middle of it right now. Hopefully, we're catching you at an early portion of that phase. And we can sort of transition to how to avoid or get out of sunk cost fallacy. And be a little helpful. And number one would be focus on future benefits. Like, start to reframe your decision-making based on potential future gains, not past investments. Not that, hey, I've already invested so much into this. Think about what time, what other resources do you have that you can invest in something else besides the thing that's not yielding any results, to start getting better results that you were looking for anyways. It just happens to be in something else.
So far, sometimes I've gotten so far down the road in the wrong direction, I think it's way too hard to go back. Where some things require you just tucking your tail, dropping your head, and walking back.
Man, honesty and self-awareness, it goes a long way.
Self-awareness is a lost art in our society.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, maybe.
Most people are not aware
to
the level in which they need to be aware.
For whatever reason, it's pretty important to me. I'm not saying I'm great at it, but I work hard at being self-aware. How do others perceive me? How do I come across? What's the impact I'm having in others' lives, positive or negative? Yeah.
I've worked very hard to be self-aware.
I'm not great. I'm saying that right now, and the dozens of people listening that know me are like, this dude ain't self-aware. Yeah, you're probably right, but it's high on my list, guys.
I may act like I'm not self-aware. Because I just want to continue the action.
That's a fair statement.
But I know.
Yeah.
Every time my wife tells me I'm a jerk, I know that.
Yeah.
I just don't want to quit.
Fair.
Yeah.
So the number one way to get out of sunk cost fallacy is focus on future benefits. Focus on where at this point now moving forward, where can you focus your time, your energy, your resources towards a better outcome?
Like in my marriage, if I would quit being a jerk, it would probably be a lot nicer at home.
Or just shut up and give it 3 hours or 2 hours, whatever you said, and things will calm down, and then maybe you can approach it with less emotional vigor.
Yeah.
Or venom, as it were.
Yep.
Number two would be set clear goals and limits. So establish up front before you go into something benchmarks for success, and if they're not met, be willing to pivot or exit. That is cold, analytical, and very professional. And I would love to be that calculating, and sometimes I am. Lots of times I'm not.
Limits are probably the most important thing in life. Like, how far am I willing to go to get this thing that I want? How far am I willing to go to make this product work?
Mm-hmm.
What am I willing to sacrifice in profit or in mental strain to make it work?
Yeah. I can't remember who said it, but God, I'm trying to remember who said it. But either way, someone, and it stuck with me, said, man, life's all about figuring out what you want and then figuring out, are you willing to pay the price to get it? If not, don't even start. So pick something else. So if you can figure out what you want, figure out, best guess, what it's going to cost to get that. Is that 4 years? Is it 5 years? Is it a bunch of money? Is it, I don't know. What is it you're looking to get? Maybe it's financial security. Well, how am I going to get that? I'm going to do this, maybe I'm going to live off of 70% of what I make and invest 30% of what I make every week, month, quarter, year for the next 10 years. I don't know. So are you willing to sacrifice, like you said, to get to where you're trying to go?
I don't think we take that into consideration in business a lot. I think I do better in my life.
Yeah.
But in my business, I don't set those limits. I just create something new and say we're going to create something new. But what if it costs me the thing that's working?
Yeah.
I've been there too.
Yeah, me too. So setting limits up front is a pretty good practice. Number 3 is embrace losses. Accept the past investments are uncoverable and shouldn't influence your decision making. I think that's embracing. I would say any of those losses, and I don't know if this saying came from wrestling or jiu-jitsu, but it's wins. You either win or you learn. There's not wins and losses. It's win or learn.
If I embrace losses, I have to learn from my mistakes. I'm not real good at that.
Yeah. I do. It just takes me a while. It takes me a while.
I wish I could do it better.
I wish I could do it quicker. But the big losses have really shaped my life. The biggest losses I've ever endured are the ones that were the most pivotal in my life. Business, personal, relational, all of those things. The obstacle is the way by Ryan Holiday is 100% true. That even if looking back now over the last 20 years, if I could take away those big losses, and there's probably 3 or 4 that I'm thinking about that were huge, I wouldn't take them away because they actually made me who I am right now.
We actually have a mutual friend that yesterday.
I know where you're going now.
He lost a boatload of money.
Yeah, more than we are used to hearing about.
Yeah, and he just made a big play.
Yeah, and any of us would have made that same bet.
Absolutely, 100%
would have made that same bet, and he had a long track record of making bets like that, and they work out. So, and it didn't work out.
I was listening to The Psychology of Money.
Okay. Yeah. We've been talking about it a lot lately.
Which is a great book, and we may need to do something on it. But one of the things that it says in there is that if we're not willing to play and have some losses, the big thing never comes.
Okay. No risk, no reward.
If you took 4 stocks away from Warren Buffett's portfolio,
mm-hmm.
he would have way different numbers than he has. 4 stocks.
I think if you miss out on 4 of the best trading days over the last decade, you'd have like 50% less gains.
Yep.
Don't fact check that, but there's something along those lines.
Yeah. But that's what The Psychology of Money talked about, is those 4 stocks.
Yeah.
And that set him on and he's on thousands of stocks.
Yeah. There's just some big hitters, huh?
Yeah. And that's the same way it is in business. If I think about the big hits that I've had, it's
one product or 2 products.
One product or 2. Yeah. One or 2 over 20 years.
Yeah. Same thing with venture capitalists. They're betting that 10%, 1 out of 10 is going to make a big impact.
Yeah.
And make enough to make the money and overcome the losses from the 9 others. Yeah. So
consistency
embrace
of
losses.
Yeah, consistency of learning from your losses and continuing to drive forward with new things is where success is made.
Yeah.
You can't let losses stop you in your tracks.
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
That's what we were kind of talking about that offline before we got here, is that embracing losses is really a tough mentality because you think that it's a direct reflection on you as a person. And if you really think about them correctly, everyone has losses, I mean, hell, even Nick Saban lost football games, lost national championships, and that's Nick Saban. And I don't care who you are, you kind of understand that that's like one of the greatest coaches of all times, man. And that dude's legit, and he still lost. And I think it made him better. I'm probably putting words in his mouth, but I think he would say that. And so if that's the case, I should be willing to embrace those losses and learn those lessons. And to the point of sunk cost fallacy, I should be able to hopefully have enough humility to just say, yep, that's a bad decision. I've been going down this path too long. I better just go ahead and call it and say, this is a bad call. I need to stop this. It's a failure. And not see it as I am a failure. Lots of time with work or even relationships, sometimes relationships just don't work out, and I think people carry that stuff a lot, that, I don't want to be divorced because I don't want to be the divorced person, or, I don't want to shut down this business because that business is my identity. Well, I mean, is it even working for anyone? Is it win-win? Is the business actually working? Is it viable, or is it you're just going to drag you down? Are you wasting time trying to keep this thing afloat when you could be moving on towards something better?
Or am I, and this is where I fall in, or am I trying to prove a point to people who don't matter?
There's that too.
Dude, I just want to look right.
Yeah. Do I want to look smart?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, embrace the losses. Number 4, seek outside perspectives. So get input from others who aren't emotionally attached to the past investment to help maintain objectivity. That, dude, we talk about that a lot. That's where a coach, a mentor, just peer group, friends, something like that, someone that hasn't invested the $100,000 in there that can go, hey, dude, are you sure that's a good idea? Yeah, what I'm thinking is this, and it's just going to work. And like, no, not what's changed. Nothing's changed. How's that going to be any different?
And at a certain place, your friends can't be these people. Sometimes you have to pay.
Yeah, sometimes you have to pay. Sometimes.
If I had not paid, our friend Rick to be my business coach, I would have not had some of the best advice given to me to stop the things that I was doing that was causing the money to run away from me.
Well, yeah.
It would have not cued me in on the strengths that I have that I was not seeing that allowed me to do some of the things that I'm currently doing. Nobody else could see it but him.
Yeah, well, he's not emotionally attached.
Right.
And
he's older and he's wiser.
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes wisdom,
he's probably seen a lot.
He's seen a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you talk to the dude, he's had every job known to man.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Bus driver to CFO.
Yep.
CEO to, I don't think he's been a janitor, but.
No.
But he's been a lot of things. Yeah, man. Outside perspective, we do talk about that a lot. We do talk about whether it's a coach, could be a mentor that you just develop a relationship with, someone that you can talk to. It could be a peer group, someone that you're talking to on a pretty regular basis. I do have friends that have become longtime friends. We've had a couple of them on the podcast, Clint Allison and Chad Warwig, that don't really co-sign my crap, as much. As much as we probably used to 15 years ago. Now it's more like, hey, are you sure? Like, how is that going to play out,
I did an investment a couple years ago Same investment you did, by the way.
Yeah, by the way.
Before I wrote the check, and someone from the outside sent me something.
Yeah.
And I totally blew it off.
Yeah.
That was pretty legit.
It was pretty legit. We should have both shut it down.
Yep. And I did not, because I thought I was smarter than him, because I was like, you don't own a business.
Yeah.
But this guy was brilliant at what he did to show me this.
Yeah, man. It was
what he's done for 30 years. And I overlooked it and said, you don't know anything.
Oh, well.
And then he got to say, I told you so.
Yeah.
And if you know this guy, he loves saying, I told you so.
He does.
Yeah.
And all I can say is, yep, I was wrong.
Yep,
that one cost. Yep, that one hurt.
Oh, and that's another thing on continuing down a road that you know is going nowhere. If it appears too good to be true, it probably is. If the return appears to be too good to be true, it is. Yeah. Most of the time. Like 99.9% of the time.
Yeah, we don't have access to early investments in some tech startup that's going to blow up to be the next Uber or something. We're not those people.
Hey guys, I want to tell you about my friend Wes Cody. He's the president of C2 Wealth Strategies, a financial advisory firm dedicated to providing personalized solutions for your financial needs. Wes and his team of professionals are passionate about helping clients create wealth and achieve financial freedom. At C2 Wealth Strategies, they believe in taking a holistic approach to financial planning and are committed to building long-lasting relationships with their clients, ensuring their financial well-being every step of the way. Don't leave your financial future to chance. Contact Wes and C2 Wealth today at c2wealth.com to schedule a consultation. Let Wes and his team help you build your financial future.
I want to take a moment to talk about someone who's been instrumental in my personal and business success. That's Johnny Barranco and his team at Barranco & Associates. For over 7 years, Johnny has been my go-to accountant and financial consultant. I can tell you that he's more than just a tax preparer. Johnny takes a holistic approach to all my financial dealings, aligning them with my long-term plans and personal lifestyle. I've recommended Johnny to several friends throughout different business groups around the country, and the feedback has been nothing short of exceptional. His expertise and service are top-notch. So if you're looking for someone who not only prepares your taxes, but also helps you strategize for the future, Johnny and his team at Barranco & Associates are the ones to call. Trust me, you won't regret it. So contact Johnny Barranco today and take the first steps towards financial peace. You're not going to regret this. Last one, number 5 on how to get out of the sunk cost fallacy or avoid it is reframe the situation. View the decision as starting fresh from today. This helps remove the emotional attachment to prior costs. So if I am going to invest time and resources into this thing, knowing what I know now, would I invest in that now? Regardless of what I've already invested in, what I already have in it. So, yeah. How about that thought experiment? And the answer is almost always, if you're getting to that point, for the most part, you're going to say no.
And I've got to pat myself on the back here.
Okay.
We just did this in our publishing company.
Okay.
And we cut products by half.
Okay. Bold move, Cotton.
And said, this is what we will do and we will not change if it does not meet this criteria.
Okay. Just being very clear about who your ideal client is and how you want to work with them.
And that was more it, how we want to work with them. What will we require of ourselves to be able to work with this client?
Yeah, getting real clear on who your ideal client is and how you want to work with them.
And you just did this too.
Oh yeah, man, we're doing it. And I think that I do. Listen, in business, we're saying these things, like that comment right there, getting real clear on who is our ideal client and how do we want to work with them is a process to sort of hone down. Because I don't know that I could have made that decision 15 or 10 years ago. I needed to go through a couple of iterations to see where does our team really line up and where do we shine? What sort of leverages our strengths as an organization? And where are we able to provide really above average or excellent margins or service,
This is where I've gone wrong so much, because I will set those parameters and then a deal will come along that almost meets it.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, this one time.
Yeah, just this one time.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't go well. And you get reminded. You get reminded that it doesn't fit into the core target, and there's a reason we have it. And we should know better.
Yeah. Yep.
So sunk cost fallacy. Hey, hopefully this was a good thought starter for you guys. And hopefully this is a reminder, if you're familiar with this concept, that you can, should, could, whatever, get out of those things pretty easily. I'd say give yourself a little bit of grace, because if you find yourself in a scenario where you've already doubled down once and you're looking to double down again, you're not an idiot. You're certainly not alone. Lots of people do it. I've done it several times. Not proud, just saying. But you do have ways to get out of it. And probably the one that stands out to me is just seek outside perspectives. And it's easier to do if you seek out someone and have conversations on a pretty regular basis. That could be monthly, could be quarterly. I don't know that's, you might want a little bit more interaction than that. But if you build a relationship before you need it, it's like digging the well before you need water. You'll have a relationship that can help you avoid some of these bad mistakes by having, running ideas past people that are objective and not emotionally attached to your decision making.
So if I was listening to this, I would ask myself, what do I not need to start back the first of the year?
Okay.
You're in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
What do I need to sink? Let sink.
Yeah. What do I need to jettison? Avoid, quit, all of it.
Yeah, you may need to tie a brick around it and just let it go to the bottom.
It really sink?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, again, thank you guys for listening. Thank you to our sponsors. Hopefully you got some value out of this quick hit. Until next time.
Peace.